Well, let's cross to Brussels and speak to our correspondent Dave Keating. Dave, first of all, leaders have been arriving. Anybody saying anything to give you a hint of the agenda for today?
Well, I mean, they're starting out with this meeting with the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres. He's speaking to them right now as we speak behind me. And as he was coming in with Council President Charles Michel, certainly Ukraine will be the main topic that they will be talking about. It comes in the background of EU prime ministers and presidents set to agree today on this idea of joint procurement of ammunition to give to Ukraine. That has been essentially approved by foreign ministers on Monday, but it still needs the high-level backing today. And what we're waiting to see is if Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban tries to veto that. He's not participating anyway. Only 18 of the 27 EU countries are participating in this joint procurement for ammunition. However, it could be that Orban, who is against the EU helping out Ukraine because he thinks that it's unnecessarily prolonging the war, we're waiting to see if he might try to veto that the ammunition program of joint procurement, even though he's not participating. So I think Secretary General Guterres will be aware of that as he's speaking to EU leaders today. But he also has a side ask for them, which a lot of EU leaders aren't very happy about. He wants to see sanctions against Belarus relaxed so that more fertilizers can be exported from Belarus. He's very worried about the global food supply situation if those fertilizers aren't able to get out of Belarus. We know we've heard from some, like the Poles, who say, no, we cannot relax sanctions on Belarus at all, even if it might be causing these secondary problems. They dispute that it's causing these secondary problems. So it'll be interesting to see how EU leaders react later today, what they say about Secretary General Guterres' intervention here and how forceful he was about this Belarus sanctions question.
I see President Zelensky making an appearance as well. Dave, these are always a smorgasbord of events where you've got leaders, even if it's fewer, as you say this time, wanting to talk about so many different issues. Tell us about this separate row that seems to be brewing about Germany's resistance to phasing out petrol and diesel cars by 2035.
Yeah, as ever with these councils, there's what's on the agenda, and then there's what some leaders come here wanting to talk about. So French President Emmanuel Macron is very angry that Germany at the last minute has scuppered a deal that was actually agreed last year to ban the sale of combustion engine cars by 2035. So they're coming in at some point. President Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz are going to have to talk about this on the sidelines. The question is whether either of them or someone else might want to bring this up actually in the room, in the summit with leaders. But what we're seeing emerge here is a probable compromise. So Germany wants e-fuels, those are liquid fuels derived from electricity, to be able to be used in combustion engines from 2035. So in other words, those combustion engines could still be sold, but they could only be used for e-fuels. The Commission is trying to work on a compromise that could allow that to happen without having to reopen this legislation, send it back to the Parliament, which is a mess that nobody wants. But the issue is a lot of Green campaigners are saying this is a terrible idea because it will essentially just allow German automakers and other automakers to continue making combustion engine cars because those engines can't really tell the difference between an e-fuel and a fossil fuel. So what we may see today is a compromise deal reached between Macron and Scholz, where Macron gets a concession from Germany, where Germany will recognize nuclear power as a green fuel, as eligible for climate subsidies. That's something France has been wanting from Germany for a while. Germany is very anti-nuclear and has been resisting that. So it could be that the two of them agree this deal, but then we have to see, will the other countries accept that? Will the European Parliament accept that? I've heard a lot of grumbling from smaller countries saying, yet again, France and Germany are hijacking these summits, coming to their own deals without consulting anyone else, and then just expecting everyone else to follow. So we may be in for some fireworks later today or tomorrow on this combustion engine question, even though it's not even on the agenda.
Dave Keating, thank you. Our correspondent in Brussels, keeping an eye on developments just starting in Brussels.